today we're going to talk about our study that was recently published in a medical journal that really offers a solution for sciatica. It's a scientific research study where we compared our treatment, functional disc stabilization, with physical therapy. It was published in December of 2016 in a major medical journal, and this is me, right here. And what we did is we compared 70 patients that went through physical therapy to 70 patients that went through our program. This is what the study looks like. We'll talk about that in a minute, but really, when you have a back problem, it's important for you to understand why you have a back problem or why you have the symptoms that you're having. When you understand more about your spine, you're more likely to get rid of the pain. So it's very important, and I can see this already happening on the YouTube channel, that people are really engaging in the information. And that's important because the more you know, the more likely you are to get out of pain. I suffered with back pain and sciatica for years and years and years. And I went to school to solve these problems. Okay? And what they taught me in school wasn't enough to solve my problem. So I had to dig deep and identify truly what was causing my problem and find a way out. And I found a way out. And the way out is how we treat patients. So I get this. I lived it. I lived it for years and years. It was awful. It was awful. So here's what you need to know. Sciatica is a pinching of a nerve. And the nerve is typically pinched as a result of the disc. Bulging disc, herniated disc, degenerated disc. Stenosis, which is sort of a degenerated disc with degenerative bone joints, where you get some bone spurs and some arthritis. And then spondylolisthesis is where you get a shifting. So I'm going to do a quick review of the spine. You've probably seen this, but I'm going to do it again. Because, again, the more you know, the more likely you are to get out of pain. You don't have to live with pain. Typical spine looks like this. The head's here, the hips are here. There's 24 vertebrae between the head and the hips. The vertebrae are the bones. In between each bone there is a disc. The disc allows for motion of the vertebrae, forward, back, side to side, and rotate. And all the motion takes place on top of the disc. The disc is very, very, very important for a functional spine. The way you bend, the way you move, the way you twist is all a result of the disc. In between each vertebrae, there's an opening we call the foramen. And it's through the foramen that a nerve exits off of the spinal cord. The spinal cord runs down through the inside of the spine. Brain's up here. Off the brainstem is the spinal cord, which then runs down through the inside of the spine. The spine is designed to protect the spinal cord. That's why we have a spine. It protects your spinal cord. And then in between each vertebrae where that opening is, little nerves come off of the spinal cord. Now the nerves in the neck go into the arms. Whoops, went the wrong way. Nerves in the neck go into the arms. You ever had a pinched nerve in your neck? Very often you'll have neck pain, headache, sometimes arm pain, sometimes it goes all the way into the hand. Not as common as sciatica. Sciatica tends to be more common. Sciatica is the nerves that come out of the lowest part of your spine, and they go down your leg. And not uncommon, when you have a pinched nerve in your low back, very often you get pain in the back, sometimes pain in the hip, sometimes pain that goes down to the leg, sometimes all the way down the leg into the foot, sometimes just in the foot. Kind of rare, but it does happen. We do see those. Again, sciatica is about the disc. The nerve is being pinched, but the question is, what's pinching the nerve? It's the disc. The disc is a lot like a jelly donut in the sense that the outside of the disc, there's a thick material. That thick material we call the annulus. This is the thick material here. Inside the disc, there's a jelly-like substance called the nucleus. The nucleus gives stability to the disc. When the nucleus is healthy, the disc is happy. When the nucleus dries out, you start to have a problem. That's called the degenerated disc. So the proper amount of fluid in the nucleus is very, very, very important. But the nucleus, because it's jelly, can move around a little bit. And as things shift in your spine, it'll change the load. And when you get all the pressure pushed into one portion of the annulus, that portion of the annulus bulges out. And that bulging disc will do what? It'll push, where did I put my pen? It'll push on that nerve. So when you get a bulging disc, it'll pinch on that nerve, in that space, right in there where the nerve comes out. Also what happens is that nucleus can push out further, and as it pushes out further, you'll get a further pushing out of the annulus. That's called a herniated disc. Nucleus is pushed out to the outside, causing a severe pinching of that nerve. Probably the most common, one of the more common reasons, I shouldn't say the most common reason, one of the more common reasons you have sciatica is a pinching of the nerve from the herniated disc. Over time, what happens, sometimes it tears, it's called an extrusion, sometimes it breaks off, it's called a sequestration. These are all different variations of a herniated disc, but they're all herniated. Looks like this on an MRI, pushing into the spinal canal. Should be smooth like this. What happens is it pushes in there. And what does it do when it pushes in there? Pinches the nerves. Now in 2007, we did a study. And in this study, we identified we could make changes to the disc. Before that, we didn't know. We didn't know the discs would get better. We did our treatment, the discs got better. Looked like this. This patient came to see us in 2008. Had a severely herniated disc. Here's the herniation, should be here. Had worked its way all the way to the outside. You know, kind of that picture right in here, the little tear, pushes to the outside, looks like that. Okay? That's what that is right there. Nucleus pushed to the outside. 8 years suffered with sciatica. 8 years suffered with a herniated disc. He chose not to have surgery. He wanted to live with it. He wanted to live with it because he didn't know there was any other options. Came to see us, put him in the program. Halfway through the program, we did an MRI. And we looked at the MRI to see if we got some changes. It was looking pretty good. Went all the way to the end of the program. At the end, the herniated disc completely gone. That was 2008. Another patient came in to see us, 2010. Severely herniated disc. You can see it's pushing into the spinal canal. That's the herniation there. Boom. Pushing into the spinal canal. Severely, sort of leaning forward, severely herniated. Couldn't stand up straight. Put him in the program, did an MRI at the end, gone. Now, that was the largest one we'd seen. That was a big one. Since then, we've seen a few more, though, a little bit bigger. Okay? This is a severely herniated disc. The key is they will go away. When you treat the disc properly, decompress, stabilize, pain goes away. Herniated disc, better. Same thing, bulging disc, better. This is a degenerated disc here, better. Okay? Herniated disc, better. They do get better. The key is to free up the space where the nerve comes out. Treat the disc. You can treat the nerve, but nothing's going to happen. And there are some treatments designed to treat the nerve and they don't work. Most treatments for sciatica don't work because they don't affect the disc. So we did a study. We compared 70 patients, 70 of our patients with 70 patients that went through physical therapy. And we looked to see, did they get better? What did we look at? Pain. Is your pain better? Pretty simple, right? We also compared Oswestry Disability Index. What is the Oswestry Disability Index? It's a 10-question questionnaire that identifies how disabled you are as a result of your back pain. Pain can be subjective. It hurts, it doesn't hurt. Well, how does it feel when you sit? How does it feel when you walk? How does it feel when you work? How does it feel when you drive? How does it feel when you sleep? That's the disability index. Okay, asks all these questions. Personal care, pain intensity, lifting, walking, sitting, standing. How much effect does pain have on your life? Are you disabled from your pain? It's a percentage. The higher the percent, the more disabled you are. Between 0 and 20, between 0% and 20% is what we call minimal disability. Low-level pain. Hurts when I do certain things. Moderate disability, 21 to 40. Hurts, almost 40% disabled. Typically, patients in the severe disability category are patients that end up getting surgery. Average patient that goes to see a surgeon has an Oswestry Disability Index of 45. 45% disabled. They can live their life at 45%, or technically 55%, but they're disabled, severely disabled. Patients 60 to 80 are what we call crippling. This is a bad problem, obviously. 80 to 100, you're not getting out of bed. Okay, this is important because this is how we compare how effective a treatment is. It's called the Oswestry Disability Index. It's the level of disability you have as a result of your pain. Again, average patient 40 and above gets surgery. They're surgical candidates because you can't live like that. It's a problem. So our patients that came to see us, 65 of the 70, because it was 70 patients, had degenerated discs. 54 had bulging discs. 53 had herniated discs. 45 had stenosis. 14 had spondylolisthesis, spondy. They had all tried therapies before they saw us. 56 of the patients, 80% had gone through physical therapy, now gotten better. They came to see us. So these patients had already failed physical therapy. 45 had seen chiropractors. 28 had done the injections. Narcotics was 31 of the patients taking narcotics before they got our treatment. Okay? We compared physical therapy to our program. Compared the two. So what happened? We compared 70 patients. Physical therapy patients, their Oswestry disability index was about a 42. Ours was 40, almost a 47. Pain was at a 7.8 for physical therapy. Ours was a 7.5. Similar patients. All had sciatica. All had disc problems. Went through the program. This is what the study looks like. I should have had a copy of it. I don't have a copy of it. You can go to the national database by the U.S. government for medical publications. It's called PubMed. PubMed.gov through the U.S. government, the U.S. National Library of Medicine, sponsored by the National Institute of Health. If you type in here, Illinois Back Institute, multimodal, it's easier to find. If you type this in, you'll find it, but it might take a while. But if you type in Illinois Back Institute multimodal, it'll come up. And you can read the research. But here's what happened. Patients that went through our program, their pain was a 7.5. After 14 treatments, their pain was a 2.2. So we've gone from 7.5 down to 2.2. Standard physical therapy, theirs was 7.8. After 14 treatments, they were at a 5.4. This is how much improvement they got. This is how much improvement we got. These patients were discontinued. You're done with your therapy. Okay? Probably a lot of them just said, I'm done because I'm not better. Yeah, they were a little better, but they still were in a lot of pain. 5 is bad. I know, I've been a 5, I've been an 8, I've been a 10. Yeah, I was a 10 one time in Florida, got stuck in bed. But physical therapy, this is how much improvement. They discontinued. Our patients continued with the program. At the end of it, our patients had gone from a 7.5 in pain down to 0.8, less than 1. Again, their patients discontinued at 5.4. It's not a little bit better. Sometimes they compete on getting a little bit better. It's dramatically better. Changes everything. It's a breakthrough. Why is it a breakthrough? Because it affects the disc. Nobody does what we do for sciatica, period. Nobody. Oswestry Disability Index, physical therapy patients. When they started, they were at 42 roughly. They went down to a 32, 33. A little more than 9 points better. That's typical of physical therapy for sciatica. Your disability is going to get 9 points better. You going to be happy with that? Probably not, but they're going to be happy with that because you're getting better. Our patients, after 14 visits, again, they discontinued. Our patients went from a 46 down to a 24. It's important because you have to compare Oswestry's because pain is so subjective. How does the pain affect your ability to live your life? Okay, they weren't done. Our patients continued. They were stopped. At the end of our therapy, which is 30 treatments, theirs is 14. This is where you're going to get for 14. This is where you're going to get with physical therapy. It's 14, you're done. Okay? Ours had 30. And this is what we got at 30. They went from a 46 down to a 15. They were better. They weren't a little bit better. They were dramatically better. Why? Because we affect the disc. Nobody affects the disc. Surgery, they cut the disc out, or they fuse it. Injections, they want to decrease the inflammation. Physical therapy, they try to strengthen the muscles. Chiropractors try to move the joints. We affect the disc. We did another study. Well, we did a second study between then and now, where we had a patient that had failed back surgery syndrome. That was published this year, 2018. She had failed back surgery syndrome, had severely degenerated disc with herniated disc, so they fused it. After the fusion, she was so much worse, she tried to kill herself. It's not funny. It was so bad, she couldn't take it. And she was taking so many narcotics, she didn't know if she's coming or going, which is not uncommon. The people that most commonly get addicted to narcotics are people that already had the surgery and didn't get better, because they have no hope or no choice. Okay? Nothing makes them feel better. Okay? We recently finished a study with 1,200 patients, and it's in review at a major medical journal. Okay? The first study was 70. People said, oh, it wasn't very many patients. 1,200. Okay? And quite frankly, in the last 25 years, we've treated about 25,000. Okay, but this study had 1,200. That's a big study. It's a lot of people. Okay? Average age, 54 of the 1,200. They had back pain for over 7 years. Beginning Oswestry 45, ending Oswestry 9. 45% disabled, less than 10% disabled. Typically, anything below 12 is considered asymptomatic, like there's no symptoms. Beginning pain, 8.5. Ending pain, less than 1. Number of treatments, 36.4. Again, physical therapy, you're going to get 12. You're done. Or 14 and you're done. Okay? You can't solve a disc problem with 12 or 14 treatments, period. We've proven you can do it in 36. We're trying to get quicker, but it takes a while because they can be severe problems. So these patients, these 1,200 patients, 331 had spondylolisthesis. Some of you don't know what that is. If you don't know what it is, you probably don't have it. 516 had herniated discs. 885 had degenerated discs. 921 had bulging discs. 907 had sciatica. Nobody treats sciatica the way we do, period. It works. It took us 25 years to figure it out, but we figured it out. Stenosis was 807. Okay? Every one of those patients had tried therapy before they came to see us. You have back pain for 8 years, you're going to try everything. They came to see us, they got better. We're doing a follow-up study that's halfway through. And the results are 3 years post-therapy, patients are still good. So it's not just a temporary fix. The patient that was, the study that was published about the patient with the failed surgery syndrome, 4 years after the surgery, she's still without pain. Matter of fact, she's better now than even when she left. She continued to improve because she continued to maintain her stability. She's mid-50s right now. I know she salsa dances, and I saw a picture on Facebook the other day. She was doing deadlifts. I don't think deadlifts are a good idea, but if you get your spine into the best position when you're doing a deadlift, this is not a deadlift video, but if you get your spine into the deadlift position where you're not overarching it or flexing it, then you'll be okay. But I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, some people want to do it, and you can. There's no reason you can't, but you have to have perfect form. You just have perfect form no matter what. So here's what we know. Standard physical therapy, you're going to get 9 points better on your Oswestry Disability Index. MedX is a type of therapy equipment that exercises and stabilizes the spine. You're going to get 12 points better. This comes from medical literature. Flexion distraction, a very common form of chiropractic. You're going to get 15 points better. Injection, 17 points better, but this is only acute, not chronic. Laser spine is a microsurgery. You're going to get 17.5 points better. Second fusion, what does that mean, second fusion? 20% of the time after the first fusion, you're going to get a second fusion within the same year. The same year. 30% of the time, if you're taking opioids before the first fusion, you're going to get a second fusion the same year. Second fusion, you can expect to get 17 points better on your disability index. That's how we gauge how good therapies are. Can't be by pain, because pain is very subjective, but the ability to live your life as a result of your pain is very objective. First fusion, 21 points better. This is why so many fusions are done, because it beats all the other things. Okay, but guess what? Our average patient, 27 points better, 27 points better. They get better as a result of the therapy. We track every single patient. They get better. It's not a little bit better. It's not a little bit better than surgery. It's dramatically better. there's not a need for surgeries if you get this program. We can solve the problem. 26% of the patients that were in that 1,200 case study group, I didn't mention this, 26% of them had failed back surgery syndrome. Half of those were fusion. There's a number here, where was it? Right here. 312 of those 1,200 patients had surgery before they saw us. We treat more failed back surgery syndrome successfully than anybody. Why? Because we solve the problem at the source. It's the disc. It's a disc problem. Half of all surgeries fail. The National Institute of Health did a study. Said, why do so many fail? And what they found is they're operating on the wrong spot. Our process gets healing throughout the spine. More importantly, where the problem is. We can identify it. You can get better. Why do we do these videos? We do these videos so you have hope. You don't have to live with pain. You don't have to have surgery. I mean, some people have to have surgery, but most of them don't. You can get better. We get patients the most severe patients get better. I know some of you don't live in the United States, and we do have patients that fly in from all around the world for our treatments, and they get better. It takes a bit of time. Doesn't happen quickly, but they get better. So if you live in the United States, you can call this number, you can ask questions. Figure out what's going on, if you can come in. If you live in Illinois, call us. We can help you. 3 studies published. 2 studies published, one's in review. We're working on one now, follow-up. It's about halfway done. Numbers look great. 4th one is we're doing a study on opioids and the ability to get the patients who are taking opioids off opioids that have chronic back pain. So if you have back pain that's not going away and you're taking opioids, we're doing a study about that. Okay? Because we know in that last study, the 1,200 patients, right here, 600 of those patients, before they saw us, were taking opioids. At the end, none of them were. Why? They're taking the opioids because the pain is bad and they have no options. They have no solutions. Solve the problem, you don't need the medicine. That's our goal. So I'm hoping that this gives you hope. I'm hoping that this inspires you. My goal is to eliminate back pain from the planet. And I think it's achievable. So if you can call us, call us. If you come see us, come see us. This is live Friday. We're going to start doing more live. My audio visual guy just left, so I have to turn the camera off myself. So I'm here to give you hope. I'm here to inspire you. I want you to have a nice weekend. Be safe and watch the videos. They will help you. Thank you. And goodbye.